Okay, I'm going to try this again. Now, what I'm going to do first is just a flat wrap to show you how they're done. I'm going to have to come in a little bit because I've got the camera lowered quite a bit more. Let's see. Yeah, that'll probably do. Now, what I'm doing is I'm taking the thread, I'm going over the top. You can also do and go from underneath. It doesn't matter, okay? I just go on the top because I can see what's going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to take the tag end in my right hand. I'm going to go around one more time, right next to my first wrap. Then I'm going to hold it like that, like so, with my my left finger. I'm going to take and roll it back a little bit, and I'm going to come and I'm going to take the carriage and move the carriage to the right. What it does, as you can see, it crosses the first wrap. I'm sorry, the first wrap crosses the second. Okay, I'm going to kind of snug it up a little bit. Now I'm going to start running and keeping the tag end on the right of the wrap. I'm going to keep everything nice and tight. I'm going to get my hand in here and tighten that up a little bit on the tag end. Now with regular thread, you can have the carriage so that the thread is angled just a little bit towards the wrap. Excuse me. And it will help lay the thread in right next to the last wrap on it. Now you can see that I've got it locked down right like so. That has locked the tag in. Now I've gone just 3 wraps. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip the tag end off about 1/16 of an inch long, and I'm going to flatten it out. Well, okay, that'll do. This'll when I wrap over it, it'll flatten out and it won't create a big hump. And I'm just rolling, and I'm not going to do this very long. Well, yeah, I can. Okay, and you want to tighten and pack it up with whatever you use to pack. I use my thumbnails because it's just natural. I've been doing it that way for 18 years. You want to get those threads right next to each other. There. I know it's hard to see if my big old hands get in the way. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my tie-off loop. In this case I'm using 2 because of this big old thread. And I use 15-pound fire line. I've had a spool for probably 14 years that I make my loops out of. And I turn it, okay, and I'm going to wrap. What I like to do is get another, say, 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe 8 to 10 wraps. See, and I'm moving the carriage along as I go. Okay, now I've got enough there. All right, what I do is I'll take and I'll turn it like so. What this is going to do is when I cut the thread and pull it up underneath here, it's going to lengthen the amount that's underneath. So I'm going to hold my wrap with my finger, take my scissors, create a little bit of slack so it doesn't fly all over, and cut my line or thread. Run it through the loop and keep a hold of it. Bring it around so it's tight to the wrap. Pull your loop so everything's nice and snug. Now I'm going to take, and there's 2 ways of doing this. You can pull everything all the way through, And that's fine. I'm going to do it this time and show you. I'm going to cut the excess so it's about 1 inch long or so. I'm going to take my pull-offs or pull-throughs. Damn it. This thread I'm using, it's not really thread, it's cord that I actually use for my dragon scale layout. There it goes. But I'm using it because it's so big that you can see it. Alright. Now, we have the tag in, it's out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come around a little bit so it's easy to see, or at least try to make it easy to see. And what I do is I pull straight up, and I pull to the back, there, pull to the back of the wrap. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a gap that's opened up. I'm going to get my scissors right in there, or a razor blade, and cut it. Do a little burnishing, and that tag end has all but disappeared. Well, it has. Alright, next, before I have to move everything, I'm going to do one side, and I'm going to put this on the motor. I won't use the motor, but it just gives the little bit of tension. Now, I start generally if it's a single foot, or if it's a single wrap, like I'm just going right up on the foot, I start about 1/4 of an inch back from the foot. There again, I take it over, like so, hold it, cross it over, still holding it so it doesn't slip. I've got 1, 2, and 3. And I usually use 4 or 5 on regular A thread, but this stuff's it holds good. Okay, I cut it, burnish it down a little bit. Make sure my foot's in the right place. Now this is an Alps foot, or an Alps guide. And Alps guides are the only ones that I know of that are actually ground so that you can wrap right up. You don't have to do any prep on them at all. They're ready to wrap right out of the package. As you see, I'm going right up the foot. And now I'm going to speed up. As you can see, it's nice and snug. I'll tighten this up this way, because we'll burnish it at the end. I have to keep moving my carriage, because with this big old cord, if I don't, it'll try and double over, and you get an overlap thread, and that's not good. Okay, now I'm about 1/8 of the way away from where I'm going to stop. Crap, there we go. So I'm going to put my tie-off loops in again, and you want to keep them away from where the tunnel, that you'll see there's a tunnel right here that forms when the line comes, the thread comes over the top of the foot. You don't want your tie-off to go in there, because it won't hold. It'll just, fly right out. Believe me, I've done it. It sucks, because then you got to do it all over again. Okay, you'll notice, see, that's trying to, okay, there we go. Alright, now I go right up to where the foot joins the frame. I want to make sure that that foot is thoroughly encapsulated. I'm going to actually back up because I don't want another wrap on there. I'm going to hold down right behind the loops and get my loops straightened out. Okay. I like to make sure my loops are nice and big and open. Get that slack in there, snip it, put it through the loop, pull it snug, and see, I'm still going at an angle. Now here's another way. Guesstimate the length from here to here. Cut your string off, your thread off, right there. Okay, I might have missed. I might be able to make it work out all right though. Okay, grab your tie off. I'm gonna get the carriage out of the way for a minute and pull it on through. Ah, perfect. I cut it off short enough so that when it came through, it's underneath automatically. It just eliminates a step. All right, now I got to move the camera a little bit, so I'm going to shut it off.